everybody. Welcome to the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Today's guest is an indie pop artist based out of Nashville, Tennessee. You may have heard of him from his band Okey Dokey. He actually worked with a previous On That Note guest, BOYO, and he's got a new song called Too Far Gone out right now that you need to go check out. Please welcome local opener.
Man, I blew it. I didn't press the video thing.
Oh, dude, that's okay. Whoa! We got a shark up in here.
Yeah, we did one the other day, and we still somehow have the shark here. I don't even know how to really adjust it. I wonder if it'll always be that way.
It is like that forever and ever now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, hey, you got all of them.
How do you just do none?
I think you
Where's
have to
Aaron?
go to like settings. We'll just have Aaron watching us.
Yeah, that's what I thought would be funny too, man. I wonder, can I do it sideways? Do they let me do that?
That looks great.
Oh, nice. Amazing. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
How does it feel to have Too Far Gone out today?
Good. I know Lisa from just various shows that I've played with Okey Dokey, and I just felt like everyone's been really bored, and so I felt like if most people play a show every 2 weeks, if there's no shows, you might as well be releasing like a song every 2 weeks. So I sort of started just amassing a lot of songs, and Lisa seemed perfect for this one, so I sent it to her, and she crushed it, and she made a silly video with her friend that looks hilarious, and I'm just having fun. I feel like if I'm at least having fun, maybe other people can have fun laughing at how much fun I'm having.
Hey, well, I was having fun listening to it. I think it's a great song. I love that you are such a fan of collaborating with people. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in this day and age with everything being virtual. You know, it's so easy to just reach out to people and send them stems and get things done that way.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, it's amazing how easy, or not easy, but how readily people are willing to agree to do something, you know? I know when I first moved to Nashville, it seemed very like this group did this and that was all they did. And this guy was in this band, so he couldn't be in any other band because he was already in this band. So it was like a million groups, but no one ever really, did much together. And then you see how like hip hop flies off the charts and country songs fly off the charts, and each one of those songs has like 6 people on it, and it's like so and so featuring so and so and so and so and this group and this guy and whatever, and it's almost like a We Are the World thing with like Bob Dylan and Eddie Murphy. It's like polyphonic spree kind of shit with like 30 people in the band. So then I just started wanting to kind of approach it like that, of just like we could just unite a bunch of people that play in a million other bands that you'd never get to hear work together, blend the genres, and maybe not. It's sort of like a Steely Dan approach in that like we haven't really played live shows or really done anything like that. It's more so just an exercise in writing with others, and also giving everybody's existing listeners something new to listen to that's different,
Right.
Just to make people happy, I guess, is the core, dream.
Exactly. When I was doing research on you, I looked at Okey Dokey and I saw your description of the band, and it was that it was no longer a band, and instead it was a collective of sorts. And at first I was like, the way you wrote it, I was like, is he kidding? But then I looked at the new album and I was like, oh no, everyone, like every song has a new person you collab with. What made you guys
Yeah.
decide to head that direction? And what has been a really awesome thing about it, and what's been kind of a challenge?
Well, going back to our previous point, it's just like it's a blast for us. It's getting to work with, a lot of the people that agreed to it are some of the people that were in bands that I listened to when I was like in high school, and like going to my first school dances and being like, I'm cool, I like the Shins, and being like, everyone else is a poser.
Right.
And then to just simply send a message and get an answer back that's like, sure, like I'm happy to put my brain on it. I'm just like, that's amazing, and we try to copy that same element when anyone messages us. Like we even mix songs for people that hit us up or write songs for them or record them or whatever. And I just think it's like a pay it forward concept. So that's what I've found is the biggest growth, is just like it widens your web of friends and your imagination, I guess, and like where you can take a song. And I think most writers tend to write the same way over and over again. They tend to write like maybe like a verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, and then you find that all their songs are the exact same. And working with others and letting other people have a choice that's maybe not even up to you anymore. You just like, we just sent people the songs recorded, but they were in charge of mixing, producing, cutting instruments, adding new instruments, to where when they sent it back, some of the times it didn't even sound like the same song anymore. We were like, weird, like that's what we sound like with that guy controlling what we sound like. That's awesome. Like it's really cool. So I think that's the biggest upside. And the only downside I've had is I've been trying to work on a collab album with people from other countries. So I'm trying to do like a song in every major language that's mildly universal. And the language barrier there and the like difference in recording and what people have readily available in certain countries compared to others is very challenging to try and figure out, if I'm even explaining myself correctly, or if I'm using too much slang that they don't understand, or maybe they don't even speak English and I'm using a translator app. But that's been really challenging. And I think even in people that do speak English, sometimes if you're not in the same room together, things can get misinterpreted, or you're not really hearing the tone of someone's voice when they're saying something, to where like it's all just sort of an open air market, I guess. Everyone can kind of do whatever they want, and you're a lot more free to just accept something because it's their idea too, it's their song too. So if they want it to sound this way, there's no reason why you have better taste than someone else who's way more experienced and more talented than you are. It's like, why did Carlos Santana say he got better? Only because he played with the best musicians he could surround himself with. It's like, if you just constantly show off and hang out in the room and you're the best guitarist, you're never going to get any better. You'll just always be the best out of your teeny room. So I like collaborating because it hopefully, I think, makes me better, you know? And
Yeah.
I know I'm not very good yet.
Oh
So
man,
I
come
think the
on.
more I do it, the cooler, it'll be.
Yeah, I've always thought it's important to be, not the smartest in the room. You want to surround
Totally.
yourself with people who have a unique perspective on things that you wouldn't think of. And I would definitely imagine that working with people all over the world and in languages you don't understand, then there's got to be a lot of open mindedness when you're communicating with those other artists. And it's cool that you get to exercise that skill so much, working with people, because it's one thing to work by yourself and hold yourself up in a studio and get everything done that you hear in your mind, but you're gonna have those blind spots that you're unaware of. So that's kind of cool that you get to have so many different unique perspectives that will teach you something every time you work with them.
Yeah. And sometimes the learning thing is a negative, like in terms of like, I know never to do that again, or like, I
Mm.
know never to say that to someone, or like whatever. Cause like when you are used to, like with Okey Dokey, I've written with those guys for 2 or 3, 4 years straight in different various ways. And so we're more like brothers in that we can be very like dramatic with one another, and we're not like fearful of hurting feelings. Whereas when you're working with complete strangers, you've just got to be like, I think you're the best. I think you're knocking it out of the park. I think we're really onto something. And that way, like, you're not like giving them the big brother, just like, dude, the way you did that sucked. Like, I know you can do better. That's sometimes only a way to like motivate your football team or your friends that are close to you. It's not really a way to motivate um, strangers. And on top of that, it's like I'm getting a learning curve, I think, more in like social science than I am even music sometimes, which
Artists are
is,
very sensitive.
yeah, they are. And going back to like if I were to just be all on my own and just sit in a room, that's why it would take me so much longer to finish something. Because, you know, like any artist, you're sensitive and you think that you suck, you know, or you think something you do sucks, but it just takes someone else coming in and either validating that it's good, or maybe just letting them sing it. And maybe they're a lot better at singing it, but you're still getting your point across. Um, that's what I've just been trying to get better at, is like letting things go, and that I'm not that important, really. And it goes to the collective concept of Okey Dokey. It's like none of us, but we do have a band name, and when you look us up, you see us. But there are so many people that help make us appear that way to you and sound that way to you and play the cool shows that you find us at. It's like, that's not all just me, Aaron, and Jeremy just being like, we just do it all ourselves. It's just, that would be a big lie. So I think that's why the collective is so important, because it hopefully makes everyone who does anything for us or with us feel like they're part of what's helping mold what will inevitably be probably the end sometime, you know, like a way to look back and still be pumped about everything, you know, that all of your friends and perfect strangers that became your friends all did it together, instead of just having like one person or just like the faces of the band take all the credit. It just seems like too, I don't know if this is even the right word, but it seems too like old school way of just like, you know, Zeppelin was cool, they did it all on their own. It's like, maybe Zeppelin was a great band, some would argue they weren't, but most would argue they are. But it probably took hundreds of people to make that band Zeppelin, and never once is someone like, dude, you know, the coolest part of Zeppelin is their radio promoter. Like, you could never name Zeppelin's radio promoter, but you should be able to, you know, like, you should know that that's important, and who, you know, their agent was and their manager and who their press person was. Like, all those people combined, you know, inevitably led to the success that will probably live on forever, you know, forever in terms of rock and roll music, you know. But yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to help make more evident, is just like bring to light and showcase all the people that work behind the scenes that are also like very impressive at what they do, and try to shine the light on them as well some, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. I always talk to my guests about community. It's a pretty common thing that comes up, and I think it's very important to find people that are genuine friends that you look up to and inspire to be like in the way they write and record music, and, you know, in any other kind of art. So what advice would you have to an inspiring musician that's looking for that community but can't seem to find it right now?
I think what I've always done to do that is to just go to the places or visit the sites, or like almost do your own internet PI catfish kind of stuff, and just find out who those people are that you look up to and respect, and figure out, well, where do they live? Maybe my similar like-minded people live in Portland, or maybe my similar people are all in Denver, or the bands that I all love come from Athens, Georgia, or something. You know, it's like, well, then, you know, you're only holding it against yourself by not chasing after that, if that's what you're ultimately going for. If you do want to be a true artist, pure artist at least, and you want to like live your life and make your decisions and your life choices based upon art, then, you know, go where it happens and immerse yourself in it, you know, or find the YouTube channels, or find the Reddit subpages that are just surrounded by like-minded people. And I know that there's got to be, with the modern generation, way more people who are best friends that have never met in person, that are just buds online, and probably know way more dark secrets about each other than even the people that they see on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, I think relationships and friendships and a circle of people or a community can really exist anywhere now. So
Right.
you don't have to live to some expectation that you need to have like 50 friends that are all, you know, dress exactly like you and like the same music, because that goes back to just being the coolest guy in the room, which isn't really the point of growth. That's you peaking, if that's what your small goal is, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I would just say, like, you know, reach out to the people you love and that you care about and that you're a fan of, and if they're good people, then they'll probably talk to you. you know I talk to everybody that hits us up, so no part of me is too cool to take, 5-10 minutes out to just hang. Like Aaron even had a phone call with the guy from Mexico that listens to us, and Aaron doesn't even speak Spanish, and this guy spoke pretty good English, but there was some language there. But Aaron just chatted with him for 20 minutes just because the guy's like, would you guys ever want to talk on the phone? Aaron's like, sure. Because we
That's
don't
so
have much
cool.
going on, but I think, that would just be something that seems important forever, is like, how can you expect people to be interested in what you're doing and respect you if you don't have the time of day to be interested in what others are doing and respecting them as well, and having conversation. I think conversation and collaborating are hand in hand. It's all a big talk of sorts. It's like a what do you call it? Like an auditory dance, or like a lingual dance.
I like that.
But I think, I think if you're really good at being friends with everybody that you meet, then chances are, if you can play even guitar like decent, you could probably start the same concept and just collaborate with a bunch of people. Like, I think skill is subsidiary to taste, to where you could just be only mediocre at an instrument, but you could have impeccable taste and you could write some of the coolest stuff ever just with what little So
Hmm.
just because you can't solo, with like Stevie Ray Vaughan, doesn't mean that you're not a tasty, well-versed, knowledgeable musician or music guy. And I saw that a lot growing up, is like, because I wasn't able to like shred everyone in my hometown, like, oh, Johnny can play like acoustic guitar, but he's not like a rock and roll guy. And I was always like, damn, like, I'm not even getting love from the like 4 people in my town that play guitar. I'm 5th out of 4 somehow. But then I'm the only one still playing music, and I'm the only one still doing stuff to where it's like, just when someone in your town or a group of people, you feel like the outcast guy, doesn't mean you're not going to become far, better or go further in whatever it is, than anyone else. So I don't know, just like, no, it's never too late. Even look at James Murphy, dude, like LCD Sound System. Homie didn't get into the game until way late. Like, he's all like, I'm going to do law and stuff. And then he's like, you know what? No, I'm down for music. And now he's in one of the coolest dance bands ever. And he has a really cool music label and he does it all. But it wasn't like he gave up at 18 or 16 or 20 or even 25 or 28. He after Kurt Cobain died at 27 or whatever, it's like James Murphy still waited like 3 or 4 years to get into the game, which I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool, man. You not only waited until the whole lifetime of most popular famous artists, but then you got in even later, and you still are probably like a major influence to so many people. So
That's so
I would
crazy when you
say
put it
it's
like that.
yeah, time is not real for the most part. So even if you find your friends at 30, that's okay. That's pretty normal.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
there's
50 is like the new 30 or something. It's like, I never had any of my dad's friends or like whatever like sleep over. Like, hey, is it cool if like Mr. Stevenson sleeps over and we're gonna like drink beers on the back porch? Like, that never happened growing up. Like, my parents didn't have like friends at their age that they would like go out to concerts or bars or have over. But like, all of my friends that have kids now, they're all having like big group sleepovers and like goofing off, playing Halo still, and just stupid stuff to where I'm like, dude, these dudes are in their like early 40s. Like, what a cool life these kids are going to have growing up when their parents are like, can actually reference hip hop songs and understand like a way more versatile world than like maybe when like I was growing up, to where, like, it was maybe a little smaller of a box of what was acceptable and what you're supposed to do at what age, or what was considered too provocative or too radical. It was like, maybe I just lived in a boring small town, which I did, but like, I think for people that grew up in New York and stuff like that, those are who I'm still jealous of. I'm like, these kids are like 11 running the streets, like skateboarding and screaming at people. And like, I would probably, if I went outside in my hometown, I wouldn't see someone outside walk by for like maybe even days if I just sat out there. So I think that's why I surround myself with collaboration, is I feel maybe like musically lonely, to where it's like, man, what an easy way to just email people or Instagram people, and next thing you know, you have a huge musical family, you know?
I think it's brilliant, man. It's like cheating the system, you know. You just send all these invitations out, and suddenly, you know, all these people you looked up to are looking at you in a different way. You know, they're looking at you as a peer instead of a fan.
Yeah, and you know, like I was like at Carl Brommel's house, and he plays the lead stuff for all of the My Morning Jacket outfit, and I've always, you know, I've always looked up to that band, and more so just as like, I mean, Jim has like really awesome and really really interesting lyrics and song structures and everything, but just like live at a festival, those guys just like shred, and it's like so interesting to listen to as well as watch, I guess, which some bands are either one or the other. Um, but getting into his studio and having to play guitar in front of him, and like I had just broken my hand maybe 6 months or a year before that. So like trying to like create a million excuses as to like why I wasn't going to be able to do what I was trying to do, like while he's just staring at me. And then like, you know, and I even told him like, I want to do something like this. And he was just like, do it. All right, just do it. And I like just, you know, panicked, and like whatever we threw out ended up just somehow working. He's like, that's great, man. Great job. And I was just like, oh, Jesus. Like, I'm sure he would have said that either way. But sometimes it's just like, it's nice to see human reaction, and like, again, just like friendliness and openness of creativity from like even people you look up to and you watch, you know, on main stages, in, you know, with like 300,000 people. You're like, dang, that dude rules. Like, he has no fear, and he has been around to where he has quality taste. And just to like have peers be nice to you is even just like amazing. I think if that's all it was just you get paid in compliments from bands that are your heroes, like that would still be pretty cool. You know, it'd be better than nothing.
Dude, totally. I love that. All right, man. Well, I think that's going to take us to the last five. I'm just going to ask you quick 5 questions, and then I'll send you out of here.
Cool.
All right, man. First question is in the studio or playing live?
Uh, Playing live.
Yeah, playing live.
Yeah,
I guess it's been a while for a lot of people right now.
yeah. Seems like it's more of like a happier thing to think about currently.
Mm-hmm. Just being able to enjoy that energy exchange.
Yeah, seeing people's nice and laughing and making jokes with people, you know, is nice, I think.
Right. Well, number two, what's on your musical rotation right now?
Well, I've been I've been listening to the new Delta Spirit album. Uh, the new Flaming Lips album is pretty fucking awesome.
American Head, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah, yeah. I just that record, I listen to it when I run, and it's such a bizarre, I don't know, like emotional journey. And I think that's why I like Wayne Coyne so much, is like he is not a good singer whatsoever, but I like feel everything he's saying. You know what I mean? It's almost like a
Mm-hmm.
monologue from an actor more than it is a singer doing anything impressive melodically. He's just like so good at pulling on your heartstrings. Um, I've also been listening to a lot of like, I listen to a lot of storytelling songs. So like I listen to a lot of Blaze Foley, a lot of this guy named Dan Reeder lately. I like songs that are kind of like Roger Miller-esque, that are like jokes and funny things that shouldn't be a song, but then it is a song and it's awesome, you know? Dan Reeder, for example, he'll just pick one sentence and he'll sing it for 3.5 minutes, but it's so funny and it's so good all at the same time that you listen to the whole 3.5 minutes of the same sentence over and over again. So I've just been trying to get good at that, rather than singing too much or writing too much, just maybe being okay with saying a few things, you know, just a few words or maybe one or two sentences, and being okay that that could be a whole song, you know. And if it is that good, then maybe you've got a great song, you know. If you need to say 5,000 words in a 3.5 minute span, then maybe you need, to trim the fat a little. Maybe the listener's going to be confused.
Absolutely. Less is more, I think. That's what I've learned a lot in songwriting within the last few years. Just don't like worry about trying to come up with this whole narrative. Like sometimes just the easiest way to say things is the best. All right, question number 3. Who's your dream artist or producer to work with?
Oh man. I guess like in producing world, I've been really into what Jonathan Rado's been doing. Him and Sean Everett.
You're the third person to say Sean Everett on this show.
Oh yeah, well he's something else, and him and Rado work a lot together on the same projects. Like occasionally they'll be hired as like a co-producing team, and all the stuff they've been doing is super 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 good, and it's so like vast. It's like it's anywhere from like Killers to Casey Musgraves to like even like Rado and Everett, I believe, worked on some Houndmouth stuff. It's just like it's going from like, and Rado does like a lot of like Lemon Twig stuff. So it's anywhere from like indie stuff to Southern roots rock and roll pop to like major country pop girl to whatever. So I just like that they're clearly really good, or else they wouldn't be able to be so versatile and make such great albums, But like as far as artists and like writing and stuff like that, I don't know, man. Like I would probably go back in time and try to work with Blaze Foley or Roger Miller before they passed away, just because they could make you laugh 1 second and then cry the next song, and they were just so good at picking the right words and saying so little, but making sure what they did say was impactful and purposeful, instead of just being like, well, I don't know how else to say this. I'll just say it like this. This is good enough. They made sure to go through and, I think there was a different regiment in those days though. You had to be really good at singing, because when you recorded, that was it. Like
No
it's
auto
not
tune.
like we'll fix it in post and we'll auto tune you, dude. Like don't worry about it. And Roger Miller just like is a whatever, he like did all like the Little John and Robin Hood running through the forest, oodalati oodalati. He did all the like yodeling songs on that and sang King of the Road and all sorts of great stuff. He also has a song, You Can't Roller Skate in a Buffalo Herd, which is exactly the song's about that, which doesn't make any sense, but that's why I think he's great. He's one of a kind.
That's an incredible name. I'm gonna have to listen to him. Roger Miller.
Yeah, you'll really like him. He's great. A lot of whistling and yodeling.
I love it, man. Take me onto the country road.
Yeah.
All right, man. Question number 4. Who are some of the most underrated artists right now?
Well, I don't know how underrated everyone is. Like, I only know my immediate friends that I think are really great and deserve a lot more. I'm sure in every town across America, there's amazing bands doing things that I didn't know are happening. So I can't really report on all of those, but I know there's a guy in town here named Devin Gilfillian. He's, I don't know. I'd say he's like soul, but he's also shreds on. He does awesome solos. He wears really beautiful traditional like African garments, but also can then cover a Sam Cooke song all at the same time. It's just really impressive. And we did a song together last year, and he's just a breeze. He's so happy. He's so positive. He has nothing bad to say. I always see him out exercising, just smiling as he's running. And I'm like, who smiles while they run? Like, you're supposed to be feeling the pain, but not him. But he's just great. I think he deserves all of the credit and all the popularity that he can and success. And there's also, I really like Sam Evian. I don't know if you've ever
No, I don't think I've
listened
heard of him.
to him. Sam Evian's great. He's kind of got some like groovy, God, what is the good way to describe it? I don't even know. It's almost like if you take folk music, but you throw folk out the window and you add on cool synthesizers and just make it really vibey. It's like
It
great
sounds like
music to
the
sit around in a
future.
room and yeah, it's like future shit, man. But yeah, I like them. I like him. And there's a band here in town called the New Respects. It's a what I believe it's a brother, two sisters, and a cousin, or maybe a brother, a sister, and two cousins. Um, but they make amazing, cool, like pop, funk, soul stuff. And I don't know what it is about families, but they have just like perfect harmonies, and they're all super attractive people. And they all take a turn on, like almost like Jackson 5, where one of them will sing a song on the drums, and then the other one will sing the song, and then the next song will be, it's just, and all of them are great. So
That's so
I've
classic.
I've made a point to try to go out to all their stuff here in town. It's really, really good.
Nice. So Devin Gilfillian, Sam Evian, and the New
And the New
Respects.
Respects, yeah, those folks need to blow up already.
That's awesome. And they're all in Nashville?
Sam Evian's not. I couldn't even tell you where he's from. I'm so bad about that stuff. We could just lie and say he's from Indiana.
Yeah, let's say he's from Indiana, and then when I look him up later, I'll apologize when I have to come
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
show.
for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, this is the last question, and then I'll get you out of here. So we didn't talk about it, so I'm just kind of taking a stab in the dark. But
Sure.
who's your favorite Beatle?
Oh man, I mean, I had this talk. I mean, I think everyone has this talk. There's a girl at my work that doesn't like the Beatles, and I just can't understand. She also listens to like Fuel and like like
Fuel.
B-side Creed side projects and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think Harrison impresses
Mm-hmm.
me the most, just because he's like the silent killer. He's like
Mm-hmm.
really quiet and shy, but then all of a sudden he's like your buddy that decides after a couple hits of acid that he's like can live off the land, and like gets a couple dreads, you know. He definitely went off the rails in like a cooler way, and then everything he put out, I thought early on, was beautiful. He definitely got off in the 80s, and he started, his album covers had like him in tropical shirts,
He's
like
like in
Jimmy
front of
Buffett
like a
style.
cloud. It does look
Yeah,
like a Jimmy Buffett album
I
cover.
know. So that's where he lost me. But also, like, how can you expect anyone to be cool for 40 or 50 years? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like, I think that's asking a lot out of somebody. So if maybe Harrison wanted to be lame in the 80s, that's okay. Like, I'll let him
Yeah.
have that pass.
I think he made a little bit of a comeback. My roommate got me this album behind me. It's what is it called again? Brainwashed by George Harrison. And it came out like after he died, but it's incredible. I don't know if you've heard it. You should check
Yeah,
it
that's
out.
awesome. Yeah, you know, those are my favorite albums, are like the released vault shit, you know?
Right.
It makes you wonder why they didn't release it otherwise. Like, what didn't they
Yeah,
like about these songs?
that is interesting. I didn't think about it that way, but when I heard "I Hope All My Friends Live Forever," your song, I was like, this is straight out of "All Things Must Pass" by George Harrison. It's totally
Right.
that
And
vibe.
yeah, and like, I know it's lame, but like, I love dad rock. Like, I love yacht rock.
Dude, yacht rock is the
I,
best.
yeah, and like, I'm a huge Michael McDonald fan. All of my friends are. We think it's amazing. Like, I played in a group for a while. I was just hired to play guitar, but we played at the Roxy in LA, and we're friends with a lot of his nephews, and we're friends with his daughter. And we just begged his daughter, like, will you please, like, see if your dad will come to this show? And he came, and he sat in this back, like, pew, or like a little, like, whatever you call it. It's like a booth. And he sat in the booth the whole time. But we told our friends, like, dude, Michael McDonald's at our show. And these girls I went to college with were like, no way. And they see this old, like, gray-haired fella standing in front of our keyboard player at the time, and they took a picture of the back of him, like, Michael McDonald watching our friend Taylor play keyboards. And I like saw the picture they posted, and I was like, hey, that's not Michael McDonald. That's just a really old man standing in the front watching him play keyboards. But to total dad vibes, I felt 30 years older seeing and like being as interested and excited as I was. But all that being said, is just like, definitely, like, when that steel that slide part comes in, um, my buddy Greg played that, and that, I mean, I gave him that direct, concept. I was just like, I love what Harrison does with, like octaves, and what he can do with just like very little of anything other than verb, octaves, and maybe some like flanger or something every once in a while. But it's so cool. And he literally sent that back, and I was instantly like, man, that sounds exactly like a Harrison part. But also, like, I'm never one to be shy about what I like. I'm never going to be like, no, like that had no influence whatsoever. Like we were just that creative, and we just kick ass, and we thought of that sound by ourselves.
Yeah, well, you got to be able to, to kind of take from the things that you like. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
Nobody's just like creating
totally.
this thing out of nothing. We're all taking stuff from people.
Absolutely. It's all a give and take. And going back to the first thing you said, I think is just like the best person, or it's not best to be the smartest person in the room, but it always is best to be the best listener in the room. And the smartest person is the person that listens the most and also is able to apply it. And so when it comes to like loving older music or working with other people or whatever, as long as you're constantly listening and you can apply what you learn through those things, then you'll eventually be able to merge so much different music and different um, influences that it will become totally something your own. Like whether you want to or not, it's like if you're blending 6 different groups that you love in your head, whether you've worked with them or listened to them, then you're inevitably going to create something that is a mixture of all of those groups, and it'll probably be really cool, and you'll feel fulfilled because it's already what you like.
Exactly. You got to do what you love.
Totally.
All right, well, let's end it on that full circle note, man. I love it. I think this was a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on and talking to
Yeah, of
me.
course.
Too Far Gone is an amazing song. Everybody needs to go check it out. It came
Thanks,
out
man.
today when we recorded it, but when it comes out, when this episode comes out, it'll probably be like a week old, but everyone still needs to go listen to it. And yeah, like I said, man, thanks for coming on and chatting with me.
Yeah, you got it, man. Appreciate you.
All right, local opener, I'll see you later.
Oh, yeah.